Logical day to all of you, and without much ado, we'll go straight to the reading of the first editorial of today's Indian Express, that is May 3rd, 2023. Patronize and polarize. Two good words in the heading title. Patron means a person who supports. ये actually meaning होता है like the Akbar was a patron of art and music. So person who would facilitate something, a person who would provide something, a person who would give support. Maybe it is financial support or it is support in any way, that will be patronize. Now, that is one meaning of the word patronize, but another meaning if I say that he was speaking to me in a patronizing tone. Right. So this patronizing is that, see, I am the person who is providing you with things. Right. So patronize would mean, मतलब देखो मैं superior, automatically implied तुम inferior. So a person who is speaking in a patronizing manner would make the other person feel inferior. So we have another good word for it, that is condescending. And both of these words are related to tones. ये हो जाएगा तुम्हारा एक tone based question. ठीक है? So this is patronize and now polarize. Polarize का मतलब होता है North Pole, South Pole. So we are poles apart. Poles apart means there's a huge difference between the two. So now polarize here would mean you're taking one group in one direction and the other group in another direction. That means you're trying to separate these groups, pushing them into two different directions. ठीक है, जैसे ब्रिटिशर्स का था ना डिवाइड एंड रूल वाला, तो वैसे ये डिवाइड कर रहे हैं या लोगों को अलग अलग कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. So if you have understood these two good words, let's move on with the reading. So the Congress manifesto for Karnataka, like that of the BJP, if we had not taken this article regarding the BJP manifesto in Karnataka, हमने वो बड़ा वाला एक आर्टिकल लिया था, ये वाला एडिटोरियल नहीं लिया था, right? So I hope you have read that editorial at least. So the Congress manifesto for Karnataka, like that of the BJP, is rich in welfare promises and development goals. However, the eye catcher is the part on reservation. The party has stated it would increase quotas to 75% to accommodate the interests of SC, ST, and OBC and minorities. The party has also said it would restore the 4% quota for Muslims that was removed by the BJP government. As for the sub quotas, मतलब quotas के अंडर में भी quotas आएंगे. The Basavaraj Bommai government introduced in March. The Congress manifesto states that it would praise the Justice A.J. Sadashiv Commission report on internal reservation in the first session of the legislature itself. The party has also reiterated is repeated, echoed, ये हम कर चुके हैं पहले word, its support for caste census, which is emerging as a common political slogan of the opposition. So reservation in employment and education is a powerful instrument to address the structural inequalities that persist in the society even 75 years after independence. The southern states were pioneers in instituting quotas to radically transform a society defined and deformed by the logic of graded inequality. Let's read the sentence properly. The southern states were pioneers in instituting quotas. Instituting means establishing. Pioneers means the forerunners. पहले सबसे पहले इन्होंने ऐसे किया. Southern states ने क्या किया? They instituted the quotas to radically transform. Radically means from the root level. Right? They wanted to transform a society which was defined and deformed by the logic of graded inequality. Graded inequality का मतलब होता है अलग-अलग levels पे, grades पे inequality होगी. ठीक है, तो दैट मीन्स इट शोज द लेवल वाइज इनइक्वालिटी, कौन किस लेवल पे है ऐसा. ठीक है, ये इसमें सोसाइटी में था. एंड व्हाट द सदर्न स्टेट्स डिड वाज टू रिमूव दिस. व्हाट दे डिड वाज टू दे वांटेड टू ट्रांसफॉर्म द सोसाइटी which was already under this logic of graded inequality. So the troubling legacy of caste and its limiting influence on representation For instance, in the bureaucracy was first flagged in the kingdom of Mysore more than a century ago in 1918. The then Maharaja, on the recommendation of a committee headed by the chief judge of the chief court of Mysore, implemented reservations to end the dominance of Brahmins in public service. ठीक है, तो ये तो 100 साल पुराने की बात है, उससे ज्यादा. Now, what he said was the influence on representation. इसका मतलब कास्ट, ऑलरेडी कास्ट सिस्टम तो था, अलग अलग लेवल पे अलग अलग लोग थे, इनइक्वालिटी था, अकॉर्डिंग टू द पैराग्राफ द इनइक्वालिटी वाज देयर, राइट, इन अ ग्रेडेड, इट वाज अ ग्रेडेड वन, मतलब अलग लेवल का. फाइन, आई एम रिपीटिंग. बट देन limiting influence on representation, that means whatever people were here, suppose A B C D E caste के लोग थे अलग अलग लेवल पे, पर A B C D E लोग यहाँ पे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में नहीं थे. They were not being represented in this bureaucracy, right? So therefore the person, the then Maharaja and all this chief justice, chief judge के साथ, they came up with reservations so that these people will also be given a proper place here, right? And the dominance of Brahmins would reduce. ठीक है, तो ये उसका एंशियंट टाइम्स के हिसाब से रिजर्वेशन का जस्टिफिकेशन दे रहे हैं कि आखिर क्यों किया गया था रिजर्वेशन, right? So that these people can be represented in that particular administration, right? Now, the major point, if I will write here, would be the limiting influence on representation. That was the major thing. That was how it started, right? The first part of the paragraph is coming up with only what they have done. Reservation pe they have come up with the as a major point. Clear? And the rest is just the data form. Moving to the next part of the first paragraph only, the policy of using quotas to further the agenda of social justice continued post-independence. But it was Congress CM Devaraj Urs in the 1970s who turned reservation into a political instrument for not merely social inclusion, but also to rip apart the electoral consensus that favored certain dominant caste. Rip apart, यहीं से division दिख जाता है कि 1970 में मिस्टर सीएम ने यूज किया इस रिजर्वेशन को, जो कि ओरिजिनली क्यों यूज किया था रिजर्वेशन, व्हाई वाज इट एंड हाउ वाज इट इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज्ड, because they wanted a proper representation of all the different caste in the admin or in the bureaucracy, which was not possible there because the Brahmins were dominating. Now, therefore, they came up with a reservation. Now, this reservation came up with a political angle in 1970s when the people or the party started using them as a means of getting votes. राइट, तो सोशल इंक्लूजन भी होगा, और क्योंकि कोई पार्टी उनको सोशली इंक्लूसिव होने देगी, so in that way they'll be getting the votes. So since then the parties and governments have been wielding this more as a blunt instrument to dispense patronage to core constituents and deny opportunities to rival groups. So they are being using this caste system as what, as a means or as an instrument to rip apart the society. So a few people or a few communities will be with say one party, and the other communities will be with the B party. So the BJP's Muslim quota move, wherein the 4% quota for the community was removed and distributed among Vocaligs and Lingayats, was an instance example of quota being weaponized to polarize and patronize. ये हो गया हमारा इसका मेन पॉइंट, तो कोटा को किस तरीके से यूज किया गया था. The Supreme Court stayed the decision, however, stayed यानी उस पर रोक लगा दी. That see, for now it is okay, fine. What we need to do is, the stage was now set for communities to make claims and counter claims for more representation through reservation. So once it was started, let's see, these people are going to get say 2%, 3%, 4% of the reservation. So now why only this particular subquota? There would be others also clamoring for the same. वो भी जद्दोजहद में लग जाएंगे कि नहीं हमें भी इतना मिले, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% मिलना चाहिए हमें. ये तो इसका मतलब इंडिविजुअलिटी उनको इस्टेब्लिश करनी है, उसके हिसाब से उन्हें एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में भी उतना हक चाहिए या उतना लीवे चाहिए कि ठीक है हम भी वहां तक पहुंच सकें ब्यूरोक्रेसी में. ठीक है, तो अगर एक कास्ट को मिलेगी तो बाकी कास्ट बोले कि नहीं हम इस कास्ट से बिल्कुल अलग हैं, तो फिर हमें भी इतना रिजर्वेशन चाहिए। अब इस हिसाब से इफ यू गो बैक टू द फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ, फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द पैराग्राफ, यू कैन सी नाउ व्हाट द कांग्रेस मैनिफेस्टो हैज सेड कि रिजर्वेशन हो जाएगा 75%। अगर रिजर्वेशन 75% हो जाएगा तो फिर बाकी के लोग कहाँ जाएंगे? इट विल बी ऑल फुल ऑफ दोज पीपल who are the reserved one, right? So now these are things that the people need to think, and let's see what their opinion is now. So the Congress, which recently became a cheerleader for caste census and proportional representation in employment and allotment of resources, right? Which recently became a cheerleader. Cheerleader क्या होता है ना? All of you know, IPL देखते हो, वर्ल्ड कप देखते हो, सब में पता है cheerleaders क्या होते हैं, कि मतलब ये झंडा लेके establish करना कि see, this is what we want. So what are they doing? They say we want to talk about caste census, and second we need a proportional representation in the employment. तो एक जैसे ना एक मुहिम पे, क्रूसेड पे चल निकलते हैं, वैसा हो जाता है. So this is what the author is saying, that the Congress, which recently became a cheerleader for caste census and proportional representation in employment and allotment of resources, hopes to corner द बीजेपी ऑन कोटास. टू कॉर्नर का मतलब होता है किसी को कोने में धकेल देना. अब कोने में धकेल देना इसका मतलब उसके पास कोई रास्ता नहीं बचता है सिवाय कन्फ्रंटिंग द ओपोनेंट देयर, right? So this is what he is saying, that the Congress is coming up with all that quota system and the caste census and all that. So what is it doing actually? It is trying, or it is hoping that it will corner BJP. So there's nothing left for BJP to do now, or to counteract now. So they hope to corner the BJP on quotas, believing that a caste as a marker of identity could trump the party's faith-centric Hindutva agenda. Understand now, from this part, we can come up with inference, we can come up with assumption, we can come up with the conclusion question. तीनों इसमें से बन जाएंगे. हमें बात क्या समझनी है कि जो कांग्रेस है, इसने जब एक कोटा सेंसस की बात की या प्रोपोर्शनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन की बात की, इसका मतलब उसने क्या सोचा? उसने ये सोचा, अजम्पशन, कि ऐसा करने से व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन? इट इज गोइंग टू फेस और कन्फ्रंट the BJP's faith-centric Hindutva agenda. So that means the BJP comes up with the faith-centric, the Hindutva वाली बात करते हैं बीजेपी, और कांग्रेस ने रिजर्वेशन वाली बात करके ये सोचा कि अब हम दोनों आमना सामना बराबर लेवल पर कर लेंगे, राइट? तो ट्रम्प यानी जो बीजेपी का हिंदुत्व वाला एजेंडा है वो खत्म हो जाएगा, और ये जो कास्ट सेंसस वाला एजेंडा कांग्रेस का है वो जीत जाएगा. दिस इज व्हाट ही इज होपिंग एंड एक्सपेक्टिंग एंड बिलीविंग. So the point that is important here would be this: going for the caste census and proportional representation, believing that caste as a marker of identity could trump the party's faith-centric, ये हो जाएगा, right? And here was only an example of this Congress CM. ये अगर example था. So if you apply prep, this was one step example of what BJP did, right? And this is what the Congress is doing, hoping that this is going to happen. Right? Here it was that it was this caste system was being used as social inclusion. No, not as social inclusion, rather as a political instrument. In the first half of the paragraph, it was social inclusion. The political outcome of this joust is anybody's guess. मतलब अब क्या होगा? जोस्ट का मतलब क्या हो गया? एक तरफ बीजेपी और एक तरफ कांग्रेस. तो इनके आसपास में क्या होगा? जोस्ट आउस्ट जोस्ट को जोश से रिलेट कर दो. अगर जोश से रिलेट किया, इसका मतलब क्या हो गया? ठीक है, दोनों के बीच का जो बैटल है, aggressiveness है, that will be called the joust. So political outcome of this joust is anybody's guess. However, this reductionist view of reservations, wherein social justice has been reduced to a percentage game, reveals the intellectual bankruptcy of these parties. This is a major point of the author, that these parties are actually going for only a few things, that is say reservation, social justice and all that, तो ये है क्या? Actually it is indicating that they are going to so steeping so low, you can say, right? कि वो मतलब किस किस बात पे लड़ाई कर रहे हैं या किस बात को अपना एजेंडा बनाते हैं, they can't think of that, where there are so many more things to be focused on. They need to take this huge country of India ahead in the world. So there are many things to focus on, and this is called intellectual bankruptcy. Bankruptcy का मतलब होता है दिवाला निकल जाना. तो ये country के intellect bankruptcy, you can now understand. I'm not saying it very clearly. So social justice has been reduced to a percentage game, reveals the intellectual bankruptcy of these parties. The tendency of political parties to bat for polarizing agendas, to bat for matlab, they bat for the country, they bat for their team. तो bat for का मतलब उनका objective क्या है, करना क्या चाहते हैं. तो इनका ये polarizing agendas हैं, where communities are pitted against each other. अभी जैसे हमने कहा था polarize का मतलब होता है to go poles apart, right? So what are these people doing? These parties are actually pitching or pitting these people against each other and are told to compete for crumbs. Crumbs यानी छोटी छोटी चीजें, बिल्कुल चूरा चूरा जो होता है उसको crumbs कहते हैं. ठीक है, जैसे ब्रेड उठाया हमने तो ब्रेड का चूरा जो हो गया वो क्रम्स हो जाते हैं. तो सोचो ये पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज दोनों क्या कर रही हैं, पॉलिटिक्स यूज करके लोगों को अलग करती हैं. सो दिस इज ए ग्रुप एंड दिस इज बी ग्रुप, राइट? एंड दे आर पुश्ड अपार्ट बाय हु? बाय दीज पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज. ठीक है, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज में आपके पास जो जैसे पैसेज दिया है बीजेपी है और कांग्रेस है. ठीक है, ये दोनों क्या कर रहे हैं, कुछ भी करके इन लोगों को अलग करते जा रहे हैं. इन लोगों को अलग करेंगी तो क्या हो जाएगा, अब दोनों को लड़ाई करवाएंगी फॉर क्रम्स यानी फॉर माइन्यूट थिंग्स, स्मॉल थिंग्स. दिस हेल्प्स ओनली टू डाइवर्ट अटेंशन फ्रॉम द मोर सब्सटैंटिव चैलेंज ऑफ एनलार्जिंग द अपॉर्चुनिटी पाई. तो मेजर फोकस कहाँ है, क्रम्स पर नहीं है. ये दोनों क्रम्स के लिए लड़ेंगे. कौन? बी भी लड़ेगा और ए भी लड़ेगा क्रम्स के लिए. जबकि फोकस इन दोनों का फोकस कहाँ होना चाहिए, ए का या बी का या बीजेपी का या कांग्रेस का, किसी का भी फोकस होना चाहिए जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज पर. ठीक है, लेवलिंग द ग्राउंड, इसका मतलब इन सबको, चाहे ए ग्रुप हो या बी ग्रुप हो या सी ग्रुप हो या डी ग्रुप हो, जो भी ग्रुप्स कैटेगराइजेशंस बने, सबको एक लेवल पे लेके आओ, सबके लिए अपॉर्चुनिटीज क्रिएट करो. दैट वाज व्हाट द ऑथर इज सेइंग. Right, so this is a greater challenge, but the people, these parties are not focusing on the challenge, rather they are going to the dividing the parties, dividing the society. So, leveling the playing field for those who want to get to it, Karnataka deserves a better politics. ये हो जाता है author का point concluding. Social justice politics needs more imagination and courage. So I hope you have understood this now. Coming to the main point here would be there are more substantive challenges to be paid attention to. What Karnataka deserves is better things. Social justice होना चाहिए, imagination and courage उसको चाहिए, right? And committees are pitted again. So this was already done, that the Congress, if you can say, and the BJP, which was given yesterday, I think so, these people are polarizing the society, right? Challenges should be taken. They need to face these challenges. एक ये बात है, एक ये बात है. तो कर्नाटक में क्या चाहिए? Social justice politics चाहिए. That is what the author has established, right? So the main idea, when I read it out, Congress Manifesto looks at social justice as a percentage of quotas and BJP as division. तो दोनों का काम यही हुआ, and both fall short of Karnataka's needs. So what is needed by the Karnataka state is very different from what is being provided to it. Now, reiterated, I have not written the meanings here because now we know that we have done these words earlier. So reiterated, I'm quickly write it. It is echoed or repeat. फिर से इटरेट करना, फिर से बोलना मतलब एको करना. ठीक है. तो डिफॉर्म्ड का मतलब क्या हुआ? जिसका स्ट्रक्चर बिगड़ गया है, डिसफिगर कर सकते हो. डिफॉर्मेशन. Graded, as I said, leveled, different levels. Flagged is something that is pegged at or it is pointed, right? Prominent कर देना, significant कर देना या point out करना. So that it is seen. Weaponized is to use it as an instrument. जैसे अभी हमने ये पढ़ा था when we were reading the Russia Ukraine articles, right? And we were talking about the American sanction on these countries, on the Russia and all. So they used oil. They weaponized oil. Oil was being used as a weapon. वो weaponization होता है. Polarize और patronize में मैंने तुम्हें बता दिया है. Polarize का meaning होता है poles apart करना. You can write it this way. Poles apart means you are separating somebody. And patronize means to support or to feel superior. Substantive is considerable, काफी, significant. Stayed का मतलब होता है रोक लगाना. ठीक है. वैसे उस तरीके से याद कोर्ट की बात थी ना, वहां पे उसने स्टेट के डिसीजन पे रोक लगा लिया था. दैट मीन्स वो स्टे ऑर्डर वाला जो स्टेट होता है. ठीक है. सो टू कीप इट, ऐसे लिखो अनमूव. तो इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू मूव अहेड. टू कॉर्नर आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड इट टू यू. टू बैट फॉर आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड इट. ठीक है. कॉर्नर को हम टू फ्रेम कर सकेंगे, पर फ्रेम का मीनिंग थोड़ा सा अलग हो जाता है. फ्रेम का मतलब होता है किसी को जाल में फंसा देना, राइट? तो वहां पे वो कॉर्नर नहीं आएगा. कॉर्नर इज लाइक टू फोर्स somebody into, to force somebody. And to bat for is the reason what you're doing and why you're doing. Objective. Joust, we understood it as a battle. Now, these two words, the reductionist and the intellectual bankruptcy, these two words, kindly read on this. This is for you to read. Reductionist मैं तुम्हें थोड़ा सा समझा देती हूँ, फिर तुम उसको पढ़ लेना. रिडक्शनिस्ट एक फिलोसफी में एक आइडियोलॉजी है, राइट? रिडक्शनिस्ट थ्योरीज होती हैं. रिडक्शन का मतलब होता है जैसे हमारी बॉडी, राइट? आवर बॉडी इज मेड अप ऑफ डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स, internal as well as external, right? These organs are made up of different tissues. These tissues are made up of cells, right? अब सेल्स को फिर अगर आप ब्रेक करते हो तो उसके अंदर की चीजें आ जाती हैं. तो अब आपने क्या किया? एक बड़ी सी बॉडी को सेल्स तक का लेके आए हो, राइट? तो इंडिविजुअल यूनिट्स होते हैं एक जैसे, सिमिलर यूनिट्स, ये होते हैं सेल. So similar units combine and make tissues. Tissues combine and make organs. Organs combine and make a body. Right? So what you are doing is you are actually breaking this down to the smallest unit cell. Right? So this becomes reductionist. साइंस में रिडक्शनिस्ट थ्योरीज होती हैं, फिलोसफी में होंगी रिडक्शनिस्ट. रिडक्शनिस्ट हम हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व करते हैं इस तरीके से कि एक बड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम है, उसे अलग अलग तरीके से सेग्रीगेट कर लो और फिर उसका जो रूट रीजन आ जाता है. इन दैट वे, इफ दैट इज आवर अप्रोच, देन वी फॉलो रिडक्शनिज्म, राइट? सो आई गेव यू अ वेरी सिंपल एग्जांपल. साइंस का है, बॉडी का है, एटम्स का हो सकता है. मॉलिक्यूल्स को और छोटा करके आप एटम्स करते हो, एटम्स को और छोटा करके मतलब उसका हिस्सा आ जाता है इलेक्ट्रॉन, प्रोटॉन्स एंड न्यूरॉन्स, ये हो सकता है. तो यू आर ब्रिंगिंग इट डाउन टू द बेसिक मोटिव, राइट? So this, it's better if you read about it. I'm repeating, and I have suggested this in the classes also, that you need to note down these words which I'm giving you, note down on a separate sheet, so that whenever you have time and you need to take out time for it, you need to spare time for this, but you go for reading at least one new topic per day. ठीक है, आज से अभी आज 3 तारीख है, हमने इस बार का कोई रेजोल्यूशन नहीं लिया है, लेकिन ये हम कर सकते हैं कि रोज एक टॉपिक के बारे में पढ़ेंगे, एंड आई ट्राई टू गिव यू द टॉपिक इन दिस डिस्कशन इटसेल्फ, एटलीस्ट वन टॉपिक पर डे. So next day you read it. You read it that day or next day. So it is going to take you hardly 10 minutes. Right? हम ऐसा कर लेते हैं. So I hope now those who want to excel will definitely follow my advice. And I'll keep saying, I'll keep giving you new ideas, but then you need to follow those ideas, because as I say, I can only bring the horse to the water. I can't make him drink it. मैं तुम्हें बहुत सारे तरीके बता सकती हूँ, बहुत कुछ हेल्प कर सकती हूँ, but ultimately it is you who has to make your brain cells work. And that's all we ask you for, right? So that's all for today. And the word for today that you need to read is reductionist or reductionism. ये कर सकते हो, आराम से पढ़ लो. Thank you and have a logical day ahead.